I remember the good old days where I didn't use any version control, I didn't have any Git merge conflicts, no pipelines or anything, and I would just drag and drop my files from my local into my server and actually debug on production by printing out stuff. But nowadays, as most developers, I'm using Git as my version control tool, and I can actually remember when I started feeling really overwhelmed about all the different branching strategies I can use for my projects. I couldn't really understand what the branching strategies are for, and choosing the right one felt daunting. Just for some context, the way Git works is we have branches, and these branches contain some version of our code. It can be different, it can be the same, but they contain a snapshot of our code at certain time. And for every code change we make, we can commit this change to any branches, and that is how we push our code into those branches. And that alone allows us to differently strategize how we're gonna build features, fix any bugs, or release any of the new features that we built. And branching strategies is a way to allow us to safely and efficiently develop and deploy our code onto production. And of course, I can throw the agile buzzword here. These branching strategies are the support model for our continuous integration and continuous delivery, which should support your agile workflow or whatever kind of workflow you have. But essentially, what any of these strategies achieve is having a production server that runs without any bugs, without any breakages, and being able to develop new features, fix bugs, or whatever you want to do, make any changes to your code, test that independently, and then deploy it to your production server. And they're most useful when multiple people are working on the same project. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over 3 of the most common known branching strategies and what are their advantages and drawbacks. The first branching strategy I want to talk about is called the feature branching strategy. And the way this looks is we have one active branch which is called main or master, and this is the active branch for your production code. And the main point of most strategies is to keep this active branch as stable as possible. So when developers need to develop any new features, they can branch off the main branch and create a feature branch and do the work, test it, and when that's working and ready to be deployed, it can be merged back to main. And these feature branches are usually synonymous with a user story on the project management board. This strategy promotes innovation and experimentation because the developers can branch off main, do their stuff, try new things, and if it doesn't work, the branch can just be discarded or deleted without breaking main. However, some possible drawbacks for this strategy is that the longer that the feature branch is separate from main, the more chance of merge conflicts occurs. Because the main branch will have other feature branches merged into it, we can have merge conflicts, and this means that developers need to spend more time when it comes to merging their feature branches into main to resolve those conflicts and make sure they're not breaking anything. And the feature branching strategy is great for when the project has short release cycles, when the team is small, or when the project is small to medium. And the second strategy I want to talk about is called the release branching strategy. In this strategy, we have 2 active branches, which are develop and main. And the idea is both of these are stable branches, but the main branch is what the production server sees, and the develop branch is used for branching off for any new features, working on them independently, and then when there's enough features for a release, the release can be branched off develop and deployed into main as the full release. This method is great for scheduling releases and keeping them organized. However, it might delay features making it to the production branch because they need to wait for all the other features in the release so they can be grouped together and released at the same time. And this of course can be fixed by minimizing the releases and keeping them short-lived so you can release more often with less features, but not have the features just stay in there. And of course, if the release is very big, this can create conflicts or certain features can clash and break each other. There might be more development resources used just to have a release ready and stable. And this strategy is great for when the application is large, when the team is large, or when there's a lot of features building at the same time. And the last branching strategy I want to talk about is called the Gitflow branching strategy. This is one of the early strategies that came out when people started adopting it, and it promotes continuous development and good DevOps practices. So this works very similarly to the previous strategy. But basically we have 2 active branches, which is the develop and main. In this strategy, any development is done on the develop branch. When the feature is ready to be released, a release branch is created off of that, and this is being tested, and after all the testing and fixing, it's merged into the main branch and then in the develop branch. And this makes Gitflow controlled and systematic. And some of the pros for this strategy includes having clean and organized release branches and having a separate channel for hotfixes. And the downside of the Gitflow branching strategy is having multiple branches to manage, having conflicts like with any other strategy, and the complex workflows of the whole strategy. Of course, all of these strategies are good for their own purpose, and these are not the only strategies out there. These are just some of the ones that I've had experience with and I can find online people having experience with. But we can customize these and make them work for our team and our project. But in order to get to the best branching strategy, I think it's best to start from what are the needs for the project, what are the development needs, the release cycles. Is continuous integration and continuous development a part of the project? How important it is, how fast you want to release? There's lots of different questions that ideally you would have an answer for, and then you can choose the branching strategy and how that's going to work for your team and your project. Because the strategy can differ from the amount of people working on the project to the size of the actual project. For example, whenever I worked on my side projects, at the beginning, when I don't have a live site, I'll just merge everything into main. I don't even have feature branches. And then once I have my website on production, I have some users, then I'll start using feature branches. So branch off the main branch, have a feature, and merge it back when it's ready to be deployed. Because basically I don't have anyone else working on the same project. I'm not expecting any merge conflicts. But having feature branches is a good way to have the feature separated, and I can leave it at some point and then come back to it and have the code somewhere. Or if I'm working on a feature branch and I have a bug that I want to fix in the meantime, then I can just leave the feature branch, check out main, fix the bug, and deploy that without having my feature branch delaying that bug fix. And there's a lot more that I can talk about with Git best practices or code reviews or how to set up your deployments. But I want to make a separate video for that as well. But hopefully this has been helpful of understanding some of the branching strategies out there and why they're important. That's been it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy coding. Bye.